Hello and welcome to another edition of This Week in ITFC History. This is part 4 of a special edition of looking back at the great season, or one of the great seasons of the 1980-81. And along with my friend and colleague, the Renegade Statman, we'll be looking at the names, the games, the wins, the draws. And in part 4, unfortunately, some losses from the great season. Stat, how have you been, mate? How have you been? Lockdown, it's been, I mean, we can do more each bloody day, it seems now, mate. I'm back playing golf, been back playing golf for 2 weeks. Oh my God, everything's happening.
But are you any good? That's the thing.
Any good at golf?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say my golf's improved since prior to lockdown, to be fair. But yeah, I was played this afternoon. Yeah, a bit better today. I play at Ipswich at Purdis. Very dry, mate. Very dry. Oh. The fairways are like runways, mate. So
I thought you meant the bar wasn't open.
Oh, the bar's certainly not open. Yeah, no, it's very dry, mate. So a bit of normality has returned because my boys play as well. So to the Diamond household, but you've been coping all right, and
yeah,
things okay in with your new RNL. I find it difficult to say that Royal National Lifeboat Institute, isn't it?
There you go, a little plug for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my day is like this. Not obviously talking to you about Ipswich Town, but talking to lots of other people on screens. Yeah. I wish it was. But
a lot of our colleagues spend most of their day on WhatsApp. I don't know how they get away with it, Stat. How do they do that?
That Blue Monday WhatsApp group, I go in and it says there are 73 messages.
It's all good. I've got to say now, it's all good stuff. It's only banter, but it is all good stuff.
I think we should just touch on that. Today is the 20th anniversary of our playoff win.
Yeah, happy memories of that. And I mean, we've done it. Did you see Rich did an absolutely fantastic sort of trilogy that went out earlier today? Absolutely brilliant. He's a clever lad, that Rich, isn't he? Clever lad.
He is. He's with the wizardry and all that sort of stuff.
Oh my God, absolutely superb editing. Yeah, very nostalgic. And funny enough, I just had an email from someone I work with in London, actually, who's a town supporter, saying he saw that earlier today and say pass on thanks, how much he enjoyed it. And Stat, your good self, you and your lovely wife, what 20th wedding anniversary it must be.
Yeah,
we had today. That was a couple of days ago. Yeah,
2 days ago. Yeah, today is the 20th wedding anniversary of me catching the plane to Jamaica at 9:30 in the morning. So yeah, and Rich is brilliant, and I had a little look at it, and much of as I am at that point, I kind of struggle, and I like the Roos a bit. Roos's goal, brilliant, but I struggle to kind of watch the other bits, and particularly with people sharing their thoughts and their memories. Fair play to them.
God, Stat, it was absolutely brilliant day, mate. God, you missed that.
Did you watch Galaxy Quest at 38,000 feet? I'm going to tell you that was a quality film.
I must confess, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, it was. Yeah, that must have been weird. I mean, God, for you. I mean, obviously you planned the wedding, obviously months, probably a year before, probably a town hall, nonetheless. Saw you a nice little limousine as well. I saw you getting in as well. I saw all these pics. What was that? As American, what was it? Cadillac or something? What was
1959 Cadillac.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, like I said, there were loads of. We had it at the town hall, and obviously there were loads of posters about going to Wembley and stuff. So.
Act, weren't they?
I thought we were going up automatically. That's when we booked the. Actually the hardest thing out of all of it, and I remember that the thing that I find the most difficult to watch is when we played Bolton in the Jim Magilton second leg.
Right.
And it's at that bit where we realise that we're going to Wembley after these years of heartache, and I'm there singing "Que Sera Sera," and I'm thinking. How many times have I sung that in my life and we've never got there? And now I am singing it and I can't go.
But on the upside, you did get Jono shorts.
I did, yeah. I did get Jono shorts. I should get them framed, I think. But no, I just I kind of keep them in the back of a drawer. I hope Jono's not watching.
Stat gets them out and gives them a sniff now. Anyway, no, we'll go there.
They've never been washed.
Just quickly, should say yesterday, many happy returns to our podcast colleague Mikey.
Yeah, 21.
Ripe old age of 29 yesterday. Christ, he's the same age as my oldest son. A little bit older. That's 6 months older. Blimey.
I bet he
and a nice birthday message from Chambo, I saw.
Yeah, with his he's locked down Barnet that's going. So,
Mate, anyway, we've got to get to it. We've been putting it off long enough. This is part 4. No spoilers alert here. What a position we're in, mate. On all fronts, we are going for it, mate. So just set the scene. Just set the scene for where we were.
So let's recap at the end of part 3. And I'm absolutely buzzing.
I
tell you, when you sent me off to
look at
doing these notes, I think you could have warned me a little bit. So yeah, part 4. We start with us being top of the league by a point with a game in hand. We've just beaten the best team in Europe, St Etienne, 7-2 on aggregate. And to top that, we're in the semi-final of the FA Cup as well.
What can go wrong? What can go wrong?
Well, let's talk about that. So we'll go on to game 52.
Just quickly, and Jealous Guy by Roxy Music is still number 1. Good tune, mate. Good tune.
How long was that at number 1 for?
Oh, Stat, you got me. I reckon a couple of weeks. I can tell you, actually. Hang on. Yeah, a couple more weeks.
Well, I thought you were going to say like 16 weeks, like that Bryan Adams one.
Nah, not quite. Not quite. Anyway, where are we going to next?
So it's the 21st of March. It's the 52nd league game in the season. Just to put it into context, in 2019-20, Ipswich played 46 games, 48. I don't know, not many. So we're already way ahead of that. It's only the 33rd league game. So obviously 19 in the cup, and we travel to Old Trafford, and we have no fears about going to Manchester United, managed by Dave Sexton.
Yep.
Overnight, heavy overnight rain.
Yeah, I mean a lot heavy overnight rain. I said I referred back to that Bobby Robson Time on the Grass book where I'm pointing to, where he say he does a summary of each game, and he would have called that. He was had circumstances been different, and he could see the fixtures piling up ahead of him. I think the game would have been postponed, but he said had to play it. Really had to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a morning inspection that said the game was on, and the pitch soon turned into a ploughed field, I read. But I've got to say to you, every time that you mention... I like that. Every time that you talk about Bobby Robson's book, Time on the Grass, I always think about him, smoking cannabis or something like that. Is there a chapter about that?
No, I don't think so. Bob ever part. Well, not as far as I'm aware. I don't think he ever.
I'm not suggesting that he was, but
No. But anyway.
So those conditions, those pitch conditions, were not ideal for Town sort of style of play.
Were they? Not conducive.
Only one change to the Town team. So Cooper was in goal, and a back four of Steggles, Osman, Butcher, and McCall. Just to give you a little quiz for a little bit of trivia for Kevin Steggles. He was the fourth member of that current squad to make his league debut at Old Trafford.
Wow, this brilliant, mate. So obviously Burley, Beattie, was Mariner?
Paul Mariner, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Kevin, I was about to say George, not his son. Kevin O'Callaghan came in for Alan Brazil. Alongside Tyson Walker, Muren, and Mariner and Gates were up front.
I mean, what we should say here as well, just to summarise that, and I'm looking back at the season, and we'll get to it in a little while. But Burley, the first choice team is no longer, because Burley got the long-term injury at Shrewsbury a month or so before. So we are. Yeah, it's not the team as such.
No, we haven't got Mills in there. I think we're Mills and Brazil away from having our strongest 11 as it is.
As you could.
Yeah. I've got the program here.
Wowzers! Look at that.
Gary Bailey.
Nice one.
But
that looks a bit like a quagmire as well.
Yeah, look at that.
They did in those days. Did in those days, mate.
Let's just go with it. Because 7 minutes in, Muren has a corner. Butcher scores it 1-0. I think, and then you get to the 17th minute, and I don't know if you've seen this goal. My notes have written down as a horrible, scrappy goal. United had so much luck here. First of all, Osman goes out to the right side,
all over the place, isn't it?
Puts in a decent tackle, but the ball, instead of going out, sort of loops up in the air. The winger latches onto it. The ball goes into the penalty area. Miss kicks everywhere and just goes in the back of the net. And I think it was
Mickey Thomas, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mickey Thomas. Butcher. I think it's Butcher. You can just see almost like he's been tasered. Just kind of falls to the ground at that point. Second half, miss kicks again. we can't clear it, and Nicol blasts it in. We end up
Never
losing.
scored. Jimmy Nicol, sort of left foot when it never ever scores. He has a great finish in the corner. But again, a game like that, played on a pitch like that, tough game. That's got to take a lot out of the legs, isn't it, in a small squad?
Definitely it has, and I would say obviously I don't know if United played during the week, but obviously we played St Etienne. But as we talked about in part 3, though, that was a bit of a nothing event. The second leg, But yeah, we went down 2-1. There was 47,000 there. The positive thing was that after the game we find that Villa had lost at Tottenham.
Remember that. Should say also just our third league defeat of the season. What was it? 21st of March.
Yeah, 33rd game. Yeah. But the big story. I don't know if you know what the big story was about that weekend.
Go on.
Tom Baker left Doctor Who.
Good God. Oh, right. Tom Baker to be replaced by... Was it Colin Baker replaced him?
Oh, I think it was Peter Davison.
Oh, Peter Davison. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good
because
shout.
There's part of my memory that thinks that I was sitting at home watching Doctor Who kind of... I don't know when Doctor Who was on, but I remember...
Saturdays, definitely. Saturday night after. So you go end of grandstand, football results or whatever, world of sport, football results, news.
It was a terrible...
Possibly Doctor Who, then Jim will fix it. Can we mention that? Yeah.
Let's move on. So if we look at the updated league table, it was a positive thing there. Southampton are in third, 44 points from 36 games, more of them later. Villa are in 49 points with 34 games played, and we're on 50 with 33. So you think Villa have only got 8 games left to play. We are getting to the business end of the season.
No ground lost to Villa there.
No. So that was on the 21st, and then on the 25th of March, some of the international managers didn't think that our players had played enough. So Mariner, Butcher, and Osman went to Wembley to play for England against Spain in a friendly. Muren and Tyson appeared in World Cup qualifiers, and so did John Walk.
It's just...
Yeah. And there's a bit in one of the programs where Mick Mills talks about he had a surprise call up, and he was surprised. I think it was a day after this, but he was surprised that he was called into the squad, and he's kind of making a point that actually he shouldn't have been. That the Ron Greenwood, as it was at the time, should have been aware of what pressures they were under.
I mean, that's the difference. We've spoken about resting players, and England squads back in those days. If a player was fit, there was no way out of it. You went. There was none of this, on the Saturday he's got a twinge, so we pulled him out of the England squad and stuff. If you were picked for England, you went. Any international, or Dutch as well. Just wouldn't have happened today. Just would not have happened.
So
even with bigger squads.
No, exactly. So the next Saturday, we are at home to 14th place Sunderland, and I think, the view was, Dave, that this was just going to be an easy win. I guess we were at that point in the season where you looked at it and thought, we're going to win here, we're going to win here, we're going to win here, and you would have picked this as a win. Yeah,
I think the game came well. We needed a sort of game like that against an opposition that we could, roll over.
Must show you the programme for 2 reasons. Is that
Steve Perryman and Gates? Yeah, looks like probably just Perryman's just about to kick him probably.
Before we go on, this was before we look at the mascot. And we were so lucky. I thought that you'd actually found him because, we had the mascot in one of the programmes from part 3 was Daniel Laws. Yeah. And unfortunately, you bumped into somebody who was called Danny Laws.
I did. And I think it was really odd. And I'm sure it's the same. And I was on the cusp. I thought, and it's someone I sort of used to play football with, and I was on like nodding acquaintance with him. So you see someone and go, "Oh, right, mate. Oh, yeah, right, mate. Oh, yeah, Danny," sort of thing. And I thought, shall I? And I just couldn't. He was with his missus. I thought, shall I ask him? No, I think I'm so. I couldn't ask him. I couldn't. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen him again. And thinking back to that baby face as a 9 or 10-year-old, yeah, it's definitely him.
Well, do you think he was the same as Daniel Laws?
I think it probably was.
Let's have a look at this mascot then. Weird, see if you know this person. He's got a great smile. And I'm going to tell you who he is before I put it up because I tried to read the programme from a camera after. So his name's Mark Irwin, but that's with a U, and he's from 4 Dunthorne Road, which is in Colchester. And good lad, his favourite player was Franz Tyson.
Franz was at York. Yes, he's a happy chap. Yeah, look at him. Yeah, happy chappy.
There
Yeah,
we are,
France. I mean, be interesting to see. But back then, all these mascots' favourite players. I think the Dutchmen came out quite well out of that, didn't they?
The other bit that they always had in the junior blue section was the happy birthdays.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, you know what? That's close to my birthday, this game. And I had a look down, and my name is in it. So
Hey,
I'm very
seriously?
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know if that would be
the Renegade
so.
Stat Man.
Yeah, I
Hang on,
don't know
Colin.
where I am.
No. Simon Jackson said, Christ, there's a lot. Hang on. Sean's. Oh, hang on. Are they doing it in? Oh, they are. Okay, hang on. You go up a bit. Paul Scrivener, Neil Scrivener. No, up a bit, down a bit, up. Hang on. Oh, I'm not stopping till I've seen.
There you go. Yeah.
No, to the right. Yes, got you. Yeah. Yeah. You're half on an end of a row, aren't you?
Am I?
You're
Oh,
Christian.
I am.
Christian name's
Either
on one
yeah.
row, your surname's on the next.
I've never noticed that. That's disappointing. I'll see if I can get my next birthday in the programme. The only thing else I wanted to mention it to you was at the bit that the Gaumont had announced that the Cure were going to play. I don't know if we mentioned that before.
Yeah, that was the first time they had played there. I thought, bloody hell.
Only one change to the lineup. Alan Brazil comes in for O'Callaghan, so Steggles is still getting his run at right back.
Yeah.
1-0 down after 18 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I was at this game. I'm pretty sure. I think I must have been playing that day. I can't remember much about this game. All I can remember about this game is the equaliser, which is, I think you can see it on YouTube. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, 44th minute, Mariner with a fantastic free kick. Yeah, and as we always say, a lot of the things, you can just find it off YouTube. And one of the games that we cover, actually, the next game, Leeds United. I've never seen that game before, but I managed to find that on YouTube. So
the goal's very, very grainy. The goals are on YouTube for sure. Yeah.
Important goal then to go in at half time 1-1, and then in the second half, Mariner 2 close range efforts within a minute of each other, and then Joe Hinnigan is then sent off for Sunderland. I think it's Joe Hinnigan. Yeah, he gets sent off, and then Tyson scores in the dying seconds to make it 4-1. Bobby Robson says we can't be too bad of a side if we score 4 goals when we're playing well below our best.
Yeah, I think so. I think we needed a game like that.
Villa beat Southampton 2-1. David Geddes with the winner at the end of the first half. And then the other thing that surprised me, actually, before we'll have a look at the table, see the updated league table. We've got a number of teams that are trying to get that third spot, and suddenly in come Forest. They're third now, 44 points from 36.
Yeah.
Villa 51 from 35, and we're 52 from 34. Now, I don't know if you know, but the next day, which was the 29th of March 1981, was the first ever London Marathon.
Wow,
and
there you go. Yeah,
Bobby Robson thought it would be a good idea, and so he actually put his first 11 in just to take part in the London Marathon. So I don't know whether
just to keep them ticking over for the next
fresh.
For the next, keep them fresh. Yeah. I think that might have been his mistake. Stat. We're spoken about player fatigue and stuff. I think all that squad of 14 being made to run in the London Marathon the day after the Sunderland game was a bit harsh, really, wasn't it?
Murin and Tyson in the pantomime horse was a terrible one. Kevin Beattie.
I think Brazil ran as a tree. I think tree costume.
So obviously after that 26-mile slog, they found themselves at Ellen Road,
where, up on Felixstowe Road, yeah.
Where Alan Clark, as Leeds United were, they were in 10th place. This was our game in hand over Villa, so it was important that we got a result here. Really happy with the team. Mills comes in for Steggles, and you'd say this is our strongest. Strongest 11,
that must be one of the last times we play that team. Yeah, that is a strong team. Yeah, Mills, Steggles. Just the only difference is McCall's in for the long-term injured Burley.
Yeah. 6th minute, and like I said, I only watched this about 2 hours.
Just quickly, again, a bit in the Robson book about this. Apparently, it was scheduled for a 7:30 kickoff, and at 7:25, apparently a Leeds official knocks on the dressing room door to say, there's been an accident on the M1 or M62 or something like that. There are a load more fans coming in, although it wasn't a particularly huge crowd, but a load more fans coming in. We want to put the kickoff back to 7:45. And he said that really set the players on edge a bit, and he said the players just went out and got caught cold in a sort of poor frame of mind sort of thing.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
he wasn't happy.
Town are 2-0 down at half time, and from what I've seen and read, they were never in contention for this game. But what I would say, in the 6th minute, a hotly disputed penalty, and it's just, It was never a penalty. I've just written down it was never a penalty. You know, they said that there was a push, I think, from Osman on whoever it was up front for Leeds. You would never give that 999 times out of 1,000. But yeah, Hurd stepped up. He scored it 2-0 with at half time. Finished the game 3-0 down. It was our heaviest defeat of the season. Bobby Robson said, "It's not a mortal blow. One defeat doesn't suddenly make us a bad side, and I know we can bounce back." Obviously, with one eye ahead of the next match against West Brom, who were moving up into third place. They were on 45 points.
Yeah.
And we both now played 35 games, us and Villa, and we're 1 point ahead on 52. Yeah. Now, we go to West Brom, and there's the programme.
Look at that. It's quite interesting. Look at that.
I won't go into it.
Brendan Batson looks like
Brendan Batson, yeah. But a lot of the away programmes are very, very complimentary about Town and the Town side, and they're really pleased that, you know, how Town are pushing on and stuff like that. Even Ron Atkinson, which surprised me, because I didn't think he particularly liked Town.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I want to talk to you about this. So it's the 4th of April. We're playing third place West Brom. We're on the same. We're 1 point ahead of Aston Villa with 7 games to go, and Bobby Robson's not at the game. He decides to take himself off to Germany to watch our UEFA Cup semi-final opponents, Cologne. Am I going to add this into my list of reasons that we might not have won the league? You know, this was an important game here.
Tough one. I mean, do you think you could see the writing on the wall almost as far as the league was concerned? You know, things are starting to catch up and almost, you know, prioritising UEFA Cup. I don't know. You know, I think perhaps he considered that Ferguson was an able enough deputy to, to be in charge for one game. But
could he not have just Sky Plus?
It's not a bad call. It's not a bad call, Stat. Yeah, would it have made it? Who can say? Who can say?
You know, BT TV had it on, or whatever, BT Sport. He could have watched it on there later on in the evening, I think.
I'm sure he could
but then I think one of the reasons is that he probably knew what the team was going to be. So Cooper's still in goal. Steggles comes back in for the injured Tyson. Osman and Butchery centre half. So Mills then goes from right back to left back, which is fine. O'Callaghan comes in for the injured Mariner. McCall switches into centre midfield. Walker, Murin are there as well, and I think Gates is up front with Brazil. That team is all over the place from the one that just had and again beaten at Leeds.
Yeah, and we get we get caught. Well, we sort of seemingly get caught by an early goal, then we hit back immediately. But then,
well, I looked at the goal today, and after 8 minutes, Ali Brown scores. Terrible confusion in the box, and it ends with the ball going in the back of the net, and you see, you know, the players, and I think you got Russell Osman, and he's got in the orange wake, and he is raging. But a minute later, Murin he's running down the wing, and his left cross goes in, no one gets anywhere near it, and it falls to Brazil right in the right hand side of the penalty area, and he just guides in. And I don't know about you, but at that point, when you're playing at the third place team and suddenly you get a goal back straight away, you're thinking this is promising. You know, we're going to be in this game. But in the 44th minute, great goal by Brendan Batson. The
header, near post header, that's a really good goal. Good wing play, proper old-fashioned wing play by, if I remember rightly, by Peter Barnes, who was a very, very good winger, England player. And then finished off second half. I think Barnes himself scored. Any deflection? Was it Barnes? I think he might have done.
Barnes in the 54th minute deflected effort.
I mean, again, in the Robson book, he said he was away, but spoke to Ferguson after the final whistle, and Ferguson said, "Yeah, a bit unfortunate. We played well, much better than we played at Leeds, even with the side. Played well, missed chances. They took theirs, sort of thing. One of those games."
And the news I have to bring you at this point, and I won't add the other sentence that I've got here, is that we came off to hear that Villa had beaten Leicester 4-2 at Filbert Street. So if we look at the league table now, West Brom are 47, only 5 points behind us now. We're on 52 and Villa are on 53. Now, I don't know if you heard about the rumours that came out that Bobby Robson actually wasn't in Cologne watching the game, because I don't know if you know.
Skullduggery is this? What's this? Go on, mate.
He was a big fan of Eurovision, so he was over in Dublin to see Bucks Fizz win win the Eurovision Song
Hey,
Contest.
I was going to. Well, funny enough, that's they feature in a little while.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought they might have done, and when I saw that, I thought, right, okay, so yeah, he was over there. Apparently, he's a big fan of the Eurovision classics. But I'm pleased to say that he travelled back from Dublin, and he
I think
was.
you like the bit where they take the skirts off. Do you know that bit? They take the skirts off, the longer skirts.
Seen that, yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
carry on.
He's back for UEFA Cup action at Portman Road. A few days later, we entertain FC Cologne. I haven't really got the lighting very well for that, but there you go.
Right, yeah. Got that.
FC Cologne, positive news for us. Managed by, not positive, managed by Rinus
Michels, yeah,
but
manager,
no Bonhoff and no Zimmerman, who were both injured.
Bonhoff.
Before we go, we'll have a look at the mascot. Was Ben Davies of To the Close Sudbury. His favourite player is Paul Mariner, so it's a good. There he is.
Yeah, good call. Nice one. Yeah.
Paul Cooper makes his 300th appearance for Town, and then we play what I like to call, probably got a little bit like it. And we should never ever mention our current manager in line with this great season, but it's kind of thinking, who's going where now? When the team's being named, and it's a bit odd. So we suddenly Gates is. Tyson's back in for Steggles, Mariner's back in for O'Callaghan. So Mills goes from left back to right back. McCall goes from centre middle to left back. But I think we are, with all the changes, settled down again to our strongest.
Yeah, that's the
11.
strongest side. That's the strongest side we could put out at this point.
What was going on in Ipswich in 1981? Because from what I can see on my notes, we're in the UEFA Cup semi-final, first leg. We've just dispatched the best team in Europe.
What was the crowd? I can't see because you've got it in blue.
Less than 25,000.
No, well, there was games all up. Perhaps the following game. Perhaps people were waiting for the game at the following weekend.
Oh, there you go. Let's have a look at the
expensive business following Town back in those days.
It certainly was. But some great players were at Portman Road. You know, we talked about Platini and Battiston. In fact, if we mention Battiston, we can have a look at who the goalie was in this one. So it was Schumacher,
the pantomime villain from the '82 World Cup,
and a couple of other names that stuck out for me was Muller. He scored loads of goals, but Pierre Letbarski.
Oh mate, yeah.
I used to have a pair of Pierre Letbarski boots.
Bandy-legged winger, little squat winger, wasn't he?
No, I thought you were talking about me. No, I was not a bandy-legged winger. No, Pierre Letbarski.
Yeah, Pierre Letbarski. They were. I think you can safely say their team was littered with internationals. Littered.
Without a doubt.
With an England international up front.
Yeah, he did. He did play. I thought I mentioned Woodcock, but yeah, he played, and I think he lasted the whole game. He wasn't subbed. Town scored the only goal in the game, the 38th minute. Powerful header for Walkie.
What I can remember about this game is we're pretty dominant in the game. We just didn't, typical German, pretty solid in defence. I seem to remember, I can't really remember them having many chances. It was a 1-0, but it was one of those sort of comfortable 1-0s, which could have easily been 3 or 4, but it just didn't on the night. But obviously the key in Europe, as we know, is not to concede. But you still would have wanted more than a goal to take to Cologne, that's for sure.
Beattie had a chance, should have doubled the lead with a header in the 85th minute, and he walks away shaking his head and swearing at himself. And you're right, Bobby Robson said, had we scored the goals we deserved, this tie would have been virtually over.
Yeah.
But, as you say, we've won 1-0, we go to Cologne, but the fantastic result was slightly sad when we walked off the pitch, and I've heard that Villa had beaten third place West Brom 1-0 at Villa Park that night. Peter with an 88th minute winner.
No.
So even though we are looking at the UEFA Cup, I just have to give you a league table update as well now.
Here's the thing then that night. Oh, you're giving me a league table update. Had the result been reversed that night and West Brom still in with a shout? Well, if they'd have beaten Villa that night.
Let's do the current table. And then we'll get our pens and pencils out and write it out. So at the current table was West Brom on 47 from 38. We're on 52 from 36. And Villa are now on 55 from 37.
Yeah, 2 points for a win. That's 3 wins. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, but if it was the other way around, we'd have only been 3 points ahead of. Would have been 3 points ahead of West Brom, but we still had 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
So where do we go now? This is 1980-81. Well, let's go off to Villa Park for an FA Cup semi-final.
One spoiler alert, one of my lowest ever moments of supporting Town, I've got to say. I've got that program. I meant to dig it out earlier, and I
everyone's
didn't.
got this program. I think
My program is but not everyone's assigned by Eddie Large of Little and Large fame. To be fair,
very rarely lost for words. I'm trying to grasp. He's a Man City fan, is he?
Huge. Unfortunately, was Stat. He very sadly he was a victim of coronavirus actually a couple of months back. Very sad.
It's very sad. And what is leading to be a quite a sad part 4? You just broke that.
Sorry, no, it's true.
What
a great bloke! What a great fellow! We saw him at me and a couple of my mates walking past the main gates at Villa, and he said, "Hang on," he said, "He Large and Little and Large." You know. Yeah, you'd know Little and Large, Little Sid. They were huge at the time. I think they had their own bloody BBC show and stuff like that. So real major stuff. Knew he was a fan, and I knew he did a brilliant deputy dog impression. So I remember me and the boys got him to do his deputy dog impression, which he did, and he signed our programs as well. So there you go.
I always liked when he used to say "Rock on, Tommy." He was brilliant.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to go there.
John Bond at Man City. Obviously, he started the season off at our rivals up the road.
Did.
What was the view about him? I want to ask you about John Bond. Was he a respected manager from Town fans?
Yeah, because Norwich was such a real. I mean, okay, there's a game coming up in a little while, but Norwich was such a non-entity then to us, really, that I don't think anyone really had an opinion. I didn't mind John Bond actually. He was right. John Bond, he was okay. Came from he was a West Ham, played quite a lot of games for West Ham, I know. But I didn't really have an issue. I don't think with John Bond. I know he's a Norwich manager, but no great issue there. But it was always good value on TV for a comment or so.
Yeah. I want to tell you that the Town players were interrupted at lunch on the Saturday, so it was a 3 o'clock kickoff, I think, or was it 3:05? You're going to tell me
conspiring against them? Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
And they're ordered to vacate their rooms because the other guests have arrived at the hotel and want to check in. So,
what is this? Is this a Man City team for their pre-match meal or something?
Yeah, I don't know what time it is. Maybe they didn't read the notes at the check. You had to check out by 11 o'clock, but they hadn't. So as they're leaving, Robson goes back into the hotel and immediately cancels a booking at the same hotel because we're there on Tuesday night, which I thought was quite good.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. The only change is that Beattie comes in for McCall. McCall goes on the bench, so clearly is fit. So this is a tactical move. And Beattie has a great game. But again, we've talked about in our previous games about what our strongest 11 became after Burley's injury, and we'd never really considered Beattie in this. So why? I know it was a talisman. Was it?
Big game.
Big game.
Big game. Blame. Yeah, big game. I don't think it played. I think I got this right. I don't think it played since St Etienne away. Big game player. You play him if he's fit enough to play. Albeit subsequently realised he perhaps wasn't. His knee was filled with whatever, injection and stuff, caught his own, whatever. But yeah, you got him on the pitch, you wheeled him on, and he played. And from what I remember that day, he was our best player. So unlucky not to score. I think first half, remember a corner coming in, he heads it. It was one of those headers, heads it too well. Dry pitch, quite dry. Ball bounces up, one of those, and bounces over the crossbar. It's ridiculous. I think he has one off the line. Hutchison heads one off the line again from him, and he was so dominant, but we just couldn't score. It was a cagey sort of game, fairly even, I'd say, sort of game. Probably we had the better of the chances. I can't remember Man City really, certainly in normal time, having that many clear-cut chances. We had a few.
I think the both sets of players were probably looking forward to extra time. And before you tell me about that, there was a significant blow just before the final whistle's blown. Kevin Beattie breaks his right arm and he's replaced by McCall. Beattie's last appearance for the club. The whistle then blows for extra time. But this is the FA Cup semi-final. Why is there extra time at that point, Dave?
It's the first time. I think it was the first year that the cup final, at normal time, previous seasons, it had just gone to a replay, which I think perhaps would have suited us, perhaps. I know we're talking about fixture congestion, but you get yourselves together, collect yourselves together again. Albeit we were back there at Villa, we had to go back to Villa Park the following week. I mean, it was just crazy days. Yeah, it was the first time ever, I think, that after normal time semi-finals then went to extra time, and we were still, again, I can't. There was nothing in it in extra time at all, other until we get to the goal.
Yeah, I mean, the first half of extra time, very few chances, and I think a lot of the players at that point, certainly the Town players, what are we up to about game 55 or 56 here? Probably thinking, we need a rest. And it's a dubious decision by the ref, and I don't want to sound, give some sour grapes here, but that was a terrible decision.
6-1 half does not even
Bennett's
that really.
foul and Butcher, in my opinion. He suddenly falls over Butcher's leg, and the referee gives a penalty. Now at this point,
free kick, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
Sorry, free kick. Yeah. Well, that will explain what I'm going to say. I've never. I can't watch that goal. I can't. So it's 100th minute.
I mean, one of my low points in all my years as a supporting Town. You just know when that goes. Look, it's a fantastic free kick, unbelievably great free kick, and Cooper has no chance. Paul Power takes it left foot, bends it over and round the wall. And you remember it going in. As soon as that goes in, and there's still a fair bit of time to go. And as soon as that goes in, it's all over. You just know it's not going to be your day.
But you do think at least they got Eddie Larger's autograph.
I was thinking that did get him to do his Deputy Dog impression as well, which is highlighted the day really.
So yeah, the thing I've got to tell you about this is before they had the Asda store up at Stoke Park, they used to have the Stoke Park precinct.
Of course they did. Yeah, Harley's in it. Yeah.
And Martin's was in there. So I remember being up there. You had some brick walls and bits that you could park your bikes, like bike racks or little concrete blocks that you could put and we were just there, kids as 10 years old. And then I remember my mate coming out and he had a transistor radio, those kind of things, the very small ones. And he said, "Oh, Man City have just." Oh no, I think you might have said they've won. And I always remember that thinking, I was looking forward to the FA Cup final because I was only 7 when the last one was, and now I'm 10. There's a chance I could go. So absolutely gutted. John Bond, very gracious in victory.
This is like you say about John Bond. No, I think he was. The game. I think he said the game could have gone. Could have gone either way. They got the breaks. I think. The most disappointing. The game ends and. The most disappointing I think I've got to say probably ever after a Town game. I don't think there's many more lower points than that. Just absolutely gutted. All right, there was a semi-final in 75. Clive Thomas, how old was I then? 12, 13, which, that was disappointing. But not like this because, you would just assume that I will win that at least. We've got Wembley, even if we are now struggling in the league. And, we've got Wembley to look forward to. It's just taken away from it. It's a tough one to take that.
And what I like was Bobby Robson's quote was a kind of like a continuity for this pod as well. So he said, we feel we let people down badly, especially ourselves, but also our fans. But there's no time for crying about this defeat because we have to start thinking about coming back here on Tuesday and winning. So Tuesday, we're at Villa Park again. Villa are trolling us by sticking David Geddes on the front of the program.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, look at that.
So that's the program cover. Now I've written a note down here, but I can't remember what that means now. So we'll just move on to that.
Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd, for God's sake.
47,500 with few Town fans there.
No.
Did you go?
No, I didn't. No.
The only change is McCall in for the injured BT, and that was it really. So we're back to our strongest 11 now. Reading the notes and looking at what was on YouTube and stuff, Villa have already won the league in their opinion. They're kind of celebrating prematurely, and pundits are writing the Town off after the FA Cup defeat. So lo and behold, in the 5th minute, is it Ken McNaught? There's a high ball going through, and he just gets caught out badly, and it bounces. He doesn't realise that Mariner's there, and Mariner kind of nips in and somehow toe pokes it or ricochets off McNaught to Brazil, and he fires it in the back of the net. 5 minutes, we're 1-0 up. That's exactly what we needed, I think.
Yeah, I remember this was on the radio. I remember listening to it. Good old Radio 2 or whatever it was, Brian Butler or the classic Peter Jones, are brilliant commentators. Yeah, I remember listening to it around my mates. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And then Cooper makes some great saves in the first half, some really good saves to keep it at 1-0 at half time. And then we head towards the end of the second half, 80th minute. Mariner jumps on Des Bremner's back pass, terrible back pass. You know, Mariner was all over this game, really. Runs towards the goal, and then he plays a ball, and it finds its way over to Gates on the right, who fires it in from the edge of the box.
He doesn't mess with it, does he? Absolutely lashes it in, doesn't
Jimmy
he?
Rimmer has no chance, and he does that little somersault.
Forward roll.
Yeah, forward roll. Yeah, what's the difference between a somersault and a forward roll?
I think forward roll, you're actually intact with the ground, aren't you? Your head's intact with the ground. With somersault, you're not. Oh, you sort of flip on your feet, don't you?
There you go.
There you go.
You're up on your Olympic
technical
yeah.
Gymnastics.
3 minutes later, Gary Shaw curling shot into the top right-hand corner.
Good goal. That's a great goal, actually.
Yeah, it's a brilliant goal. Lovely hit.
A hell of a season, Gary Shaw.
Town. You know, the game goes 90th minute.
What a result.
2-1. You couldn't ask for any more. Let's have a look at the updated league table. West Brom are still in third on 47. We're on 54 with 37. Only 1 point behind Villa now, who are on 38. So suddenly, after looking like it was a disastrous...
it's in our hands. It's back in our hands.
Back in our hands. Bobby Robson said we were as fresh as daisies, and now the title race is wide open. Just to let you know, if anybody wants to have a little bit of a quiz, I've got a note here that says, note, January 1980, AG space D1 FAC. I've no idea what that means now, Dave.
January 1980.
Yeah, AG.
D1 FA Cup. So something to do with FA Cup.
Yeah.
January 1980. I remember going to see us play Bristol City in the FA Cup back then. I don't know.
I might tweet you about it later when I've worked out what it was. So then we come back to Portman Road. It's the 18th of April, 3:00 kickoff. Terry Neal's Arsenal. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this tie was at this point we were the only two teams in the top flight to have been unbeaten at home. So that's worth noting that before we move on. Paul Cooper, he receives the Player of the Year trophy from Pat Jennings. In fact, if I pick one of the programs a bit, I think it's a Southampton program. There he is. So that happened on this day against Arsenal.
Look at that. That program's pristine, pristine. Look at it.
These are all in little Polly pockets. I had to bring
them
out.
Have you got every one from that season? League game?
No, not many that I haven't got, but no, I haven't. Let's have a look at the mascot, page 5. And the mascot is a girl, which is always good.
Yeah.
Claire, but she's not from Ipswich. Claire King of 8. Blimey, let's have a look at that. Kilda Close, Colchester. And there she is.
A lot of support from Colchester.
Yeah, well, I think everybody in Colchester sees Town as their main team.
Yeah. St John's, yeah.
So Cooper's in goal, and the only other change is that O'Callaghan's in for the injured Tyson. He picked up a groin strain in that game at Villa Park. The thing that the worst thing about this is the first goal. I've just got to say to it, it's a controversial goal. It's a brilliant goal.
Peter Nicholas, yeah.
Recent signing for Arsenal from
he was one of the players. Venables, Crystal Palace, the fabled team of the 80s that never quite lived up to their name.
Frank Stapleton does some great work just in front of the corner flag by the Churchman's End. Bit reminiscent of Franz Tyson in his dribble, and he gets the ball back to the edge of the penalty area, and Nicholas absolutely fires it in, and you watch it and you go, great goal, and then you hear John Watson or whoever saying, it's offside. It's offside. And then what starts is the bit where you think it only happens now in the Premier League, but suddenly the Arsenal players are pressurising the referee. He then goes and speaks to the linesman, and the goal is given. Were you there, or were you still?
I think I was there that day. Yeah. Hot day, really hot day. I think I remember. Yeah, I think I was in Churchman's right behind that Nicholas. It was a hell of a strike. It was one of those ones where Stapleton lays it back and the ball's sort of bouncing a bit, and he just connects it perfectly on the up. As it bounces up, he just hits the bloody laces on it, and it absolutely rifles in. Yeah, Cooper, no chance. Again, I don't think we're really at it that day. I can't remember many chances and stuff. And
Mariner had a header wide for an open goal from 5 yards, but not littered with chances.
And then to cap it all, Kenny Sansom, who never, very, very great fullback, never scores. pops up in the box with a header, for Christ's sake.
But to be fair, the only two people who are in the box is him and Paul Cooper. I don't know where everybody else is. How he finds himself up, just at the penalty spot. Yeah, that's the end of our run of 46 home matches unbeaten.
Yeah, that's a blow. I remember that being a blow. Really, really, shocker.
Picking up the point, 31,000 are there to watch us play Arsenal. 25,000 are. Has Ipswich always been a sort of Euro-sceptical town? Would you say?
I don't know. Really, no, it's odd, isn't it? Yeah. So you only get 26,000 for midweek semi-final against Cologne, and you had 31. Arsenal will always bring a lot, though. Yeah. Always, back. I think I said on the last one, Spurs, West Ham, Arsenal always bring a lot of spot. Always a lot of trouble in and around the ground when London clubs came back in those days. Lots of it. So yeah, that Arsenal would have bought a few thousand that day as well.
Villa, we come off to hear that Villa have won at home against Forest, and the title is now theirs to lose. Town are guaranteed a top 2 finish at this point, but the top 3, so Southampton are back into 3rd place on 47 with 3 games to go. We're on 54 with 4 games to go, and Villa are on 57 with 3. But you're right to say that it's only 2 points a game here. So we are definitely running out of games.
Yeah.
So we decide on Easter Monday. Well, we don't decide. I guess the fixtures come up with that. Whoever does that, they decided that on Monday that we were going to travel to Carrow Road to face 19th placed Norwich City, who are 2 points ahead of the bottom 3. 26,000 are here. How big? Do you remember how big this game was? Because it's kind of like title and relegation on the line.
I guess I can. Norwich was fine against relegation and stuff. Again, out of the Robson book, he asked for a postponement. He wanted it postponed till the next day, just to give the players another day's rest. And not surprisingly, Ken Brown, manager of Norwich, and Norwich just wouldn't have it. But
also
decision.
The day up. But the interesting thing is, he talks about the next day. So this is played on Easter Monday, but on the Wednesday we're back in Cologne. So,
I say the next day. What did he say? And surprisingly, he wanted to get it postponed, not the next day. Sorry, wanted it postponed, but Norwich wouldn't have it. I mean, I don't know when the hell they were going to play it between then and the end of the season, but they wouldn't have it. And on a Eurovision note, guess what's just hit number 1?
Is it Johnny Logan's "What's Another Year"?
No.
Is it Bucks Fizz?
Yes.
I can never decide which one it is. I need to be making my mind up.
It's the one. It is indeed.
Well, Bobby would have been pleased. Apparently, he was pleased to see their act over in Dublin. Now, one of the things we talked about in 1980-81, and I tweeted this ages and ages ago, but we must never ever forget about Norwich City, how well they did in 1980-81. And if you have a look at their programme, and if I put it at the top there, you will see that they were voted the 2nd best programme.
Ooh, look at that. Best programme the season before.
Yeah. So, maybe they were disappointed that they got the 2nd best programme.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's why they've got stars on their kit. I don't know. So let's have a look at the team. I don't know how long you've got for these changes. So Steggles comes in, and I've put him in for the injured Gates, right? So that gives you a bit of an idea.
I'll describe this team as makeshift. Go on.
He's just thrown the names up in the air, isn't he? Osman and Butcher centre half. Mills then switches to left back. Parkin comes in. And you want to tell us a little bit about him?
I mean, Parkin, one of these players, a bit like Robin Turner, I think, also plays, who was around the squad for seemingly years, but just played, probably a bit disrespect. He probably did play a few more in seasons to come, but really, certainly seemingly around the squad for 10 years, and I don't think probably didn't make more than 50 appearances. I guess I might be doing him a disservice, but I never played with him. He ended up playing for good player. Anyone I know locally who played football with him, so really obviously dropped down for the pro. Really good footballer. Played locally for Bury Town and Sunday mornings, and so I think he might have been played for BT's Soft Logic, or whatever they called on a Sunday morning team. I think good player, but again. In for O'Callaghan, but filled in midfield where Tyson wouldn't have really put him in that. No disrespect to him, wouldn't have put him in that class.
No, and McCall's obviously then had to switch from left back to midfield as well.
Do you know, this is the key. This I think. We'll get to that in summarising. Go on. Yeah.
And then just before the match, Mariner fails a fitness test on his foot, so Robin Turner comes in to replace him. And this is no disrespect to tell you what, people often say to me, why don't you do a poll on who was the worst player to play for Ipswich? And I think, you know what, I could do, but whatever the answer is, that person will be 100 times better footballer than all of us. So I don't mean to giggle at Robin Turner coming in, but the fact that suddenly we were not replacing Paul Mariner with this 20-goal a season
effectively,
striker.
I know you said he's in for O'Callaghan, but effectively you're replacing Franz Tyson with Tommy Parkin and Paul Mariner with Robin Turner.
Yeah.
That sums it up, really.
11th minute, Town have a chance. Butcher's header is cleared off the line by Joe Royal. And then a golden opportunity in the 36th minute. Turner is one-on-one with Clive Woods.
Yeah.
On the 6-yard line. If Mariner was there, he would have scored it. But Turner, he hesitates, and Woods managed to close him down. And we go in at half-time, 0-0. And in the 62nd minute, again, Justin Fashanu, great player. But he appears offside to me. But what I would say is, at the end of the day,
it's not quite the same strike as his goal of the season before, is it? Oh my God!
Whether he's offside or not, and he is offside, he still goes on and beats 3 defenders and Paul Cooper and toe pokes it past.
It's a horrible goal.
So let's just swallow this one up now. So the final score was Norwich City 1, Ipswich Town 0. Bobby Robson said on the run of play, we should have won today. It was a pathetic way to concede an important goal. Now, what I like about this is that Bobby Robson's language starts to change a little bit. And, he wouldn't have said this at the beginning of the season. In fact, I'm not whether he was under a bit of pressure then, but to start, I never saw him as somebody saying what a pathetic way to concede a goal. But he was.
I think he was, Stat. I think he could see the season was slipping away, and maybe it was his way of just giving the players that G up that I thought kick up the backside, perhaps that the squad players that they needed really, But then, go on. But then incredible bit of man management. Subsequently, what happens before the next game though?
So Villa have drawn one at Stoke. We find out. Bobby Robson said at the end, it looks like the only way we can win the championship now is for Villa to give it away. He's still hopeful, but he cannot really see Villa handing it back to the game. Straight after the game, Town fly from Norwich Airport to Cologne.
I mean, they've got to be as flat as a pancake, haven't they? Really, honestly, they're effectively they realise the league is gone. It's out of their hands. At this stage, the league is gone.
Well, an update.
They're going to Cologne, and everybody I remember I didn't go to Cologne, but you remember thinking, have we not? We're just going to come out this season with nothing. How have we managed that? We managed to do this. So
if you were looking at your phone on the plane back in 1981, you see that Town were in second, 54 points with 3 games to go, and Villa were 4 points ahead with 2. So we head to the Mungersdorfer Stadium. Bonhoff and Zimmerman are back in. So you made a reference about his man management. Do you want to talk about that? Or was that
it was almost Clough-like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You hear Clough doing things like that, but I think they arrived there and he realised the players are flat, and instead of training and things, he takes them to a theme park. I believe is sort of well documented. He takes all the players in the squad to a theme park, and as it turns out, he said, that was absolutely brilliant, just what the players need: a day off, some fun. And seems to re-energise them so as much as anything. And well,
most of them. But he received some letters from the parents of Eric Gates and Laurie Civil, who couldn't get on all of the rides, which was disappointing for them. But like I said, Bonhoff and Zimmerman are back in. Town's team. Fortunately, Tyson's back in for Parkin and Mariner's back in for Turner. And I did wonder at that point whether the players are starting to pick the games now.
Let's pick the games. Do you know what? I think he realises even for that Monday, the game on the Monday at Norwich, that he is thinking, he's got his eyes out, so we're 1-0 ahead. We've got a good chance of going through. Realistically, the league's gone. I think he's almost conceding it there, isn't he?
I think so. A lot of talk before the game that this could be really tough for Town. They'll have to be at their very best. And Mariner and Tyson are both playing with pain-killing injections. First half, well, I don't know. Let's go straight to the goal. Header, Butcher from Mills, free kick. What surprised me was how many free kicks McMills took.
Yeah. Do you know what? You never really saw, considering the brilliant left foot he had. I can't remember Muren taking free kicks, in swinging free kicks, like you would see nowadays, where the player would aim like Beckham used to. I've seen him score at Paul Monroe like that, where they'd aim for the far post, get it just inside that corridor there. Never really saw Murin. Thinking about it, all the free kicks I saw Murin were actually from his natural left side. So yeah, Mills, great delivery, and sort of Butcher comes in, sneaks in on the blind side, just a great header, in it, right in the corner. I mean, what a result! What an absolute incredible result. In some ways, I think I'll put it in my notes. That's probably the most impressive result of the whole season, isn't it? Put it in the context. From what's got... Okay, no, let's put St Etienne. Let's park that to one side.
Part four.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible. Incredible result, considering just been knocked out of the FA Cup semi-final. Effectively lost the league. Worse still at your arch rivals at Norwich up the road, who are just about to be relegated or on the cusp of being relegated. What a result. What a result.
And I don't necessarily agree with you, because I think St Etienne is, but I think you make a valid point about...
Put that to one side, of course.
Where we were. Where we were at that point, in the season. 55,000 in the Mungersdorfer Stadium.
I think, reading about that again, I think... obviously, that was back in the days when the British Army had a big sort of presence in Germany back then, and I think they had a lot of...
It was only 81, not 45.
Well, yes, okay, stat, okay. They had a big presence from of British fans who obviously picked up and followed town from around the area there.
Good for them. Bobby Robson said this makes up for the setbacks we've had at home recently, and he singles out. And he didn't do that very often. I didn't look throughout the season, but he singles out Terry Butcher for his all-round play. He was also immense in defence.
Just pretty much become an England regular at that point, hadn't he?
So we decide then. Well, so we're in the UEFA Cup final, and then on the Saturday, it's just the way the fixtures come. But we play Man City, who had just knocked us out. I don't know, probably about 4 days ago, a couple of weeks before in the FA Cup semi-final. So we welcome them. Franz Tyson has won the Football Writers Player of the Year to go alongside John Walkes Player of the Year.
Swept the board, didn't we? I think we were like 1, 2, 3. Incredible. Don't think it's been done since.
More importantly, they managed to get B.A. Robertson. Ask your parents who he is on the front cover there. Who was he really? Was he like a
Scottish singer, Scottish pop singer? Yeah, had records in the charts. B.A. Robertson, Bang Bang was one of them. I seem to remember. That was a question on Popmaster the other day, actually.
There you go.
Cool in the Caftan. That was another one. Yeah, he had a few top 10 hits in the old hit parade back in the day.
Certainly hasn't played at the Gaumont though, so there's one thing.
I reckon he probably. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Old B.A. Robertson, but maybe not.
You'll be pleased to know that we've got a mascot who's from Ipswich. He's 7-year-old Jason Scales. Ring any bells? Okay. Yeah, and he was from 20 Hardwick Close, Rushmere Park, Ipswich.
That's bloody hell, it's just over there. Seriously, I'll put it over there. It's just over there, mate. It would take me from here to Hardwick Close would literally take me 2-minute walk. Just over that way, mate. Through the drift and up, right near Broke Hall School.
Number 20. Have a knock on the door. Yeah. He looks like this. Jason Scales.
Jason Scales. Scalesy. Let's have a look. Right. Yeah. I'll go and have a look. I'll go and knock, see if he's still there. His parents might still be there.
I reckon he is. No surprise that O'Callaghan and Turner come in for Tyson and Mariner, who have got reactions to the painkilling injections that they had on the Wednesday. So just a quick update on the team, just so we know we are. So we've got Cooper, Steggles, Osmond, Butcher, McCall, O'Callaghan, Wart, Murin and Mills in midfield at this point. So Mills has gone into midfield. Turner and Brazil, but I'm not quite sure about all of those midfield positions. The only goal of the game, Butcher, walk centres for Butcher, and he sends a glancing header. I remember
quite a sort of almost carbon copy of his goal at Old Trafford. He's scored a few goals towards the end of the season. His goal at Old Trafford and probably his goal in Cologne as well. Yeah. Again, remember it being a horrible day, rain, heavy pitch, awful. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you walk off to hear that Villa have won 3-0 at home to Borough. Means they only need a point now from their last game at Arsenal. So we're hopeful, because obviously Arsenal haven't been beaten at home all season. And Town need to beat 14th place Borough and 6th place Southampton at this point. So it's not
lost, because Arsenal have been, as we say, hanging around the top 3. Well, they still are. Yeah.
You'll be pleased to know that our players are still doing well internationally. So in between that game and the game at Middlesbrough, Russell Osman's in a World Cup qualifier. I think England play Romania. Muren's in a World Cup qualifier. And then to add things into the mix, Kevin O'Callaghan wins his first cap in a friendly for the Republic of Ireland. So then we go to Middlesbrough.
No.
Shall we start off with the programme?
Oh, God, I don't want to see any of it.
Yeah,
God. Is that old Fozzie? Is that Foz number 5 there with his trademark headband? It is, isn't it? Yeah,
before he went on to Radio Suffolk, Drive Time.
Yeah, Foz, yeah. There he is.
Let's pick the team. Gates comes in for O'Callaghan and Mariner comes in for Turner. Now, this is a game where your transistor radios must be there.
Yeah,
you go into a game knowing that it doesn't matter what we do. It probably won't be enough just because of the gap. But you still think, as they say in Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance. So there's some people going there very, very hopeful. I think the crowd was rubbish, 15,000. Half time, let's just go straight to half time. Mariner scored. We're 1-0 up. And I don't know if do you know the score at half time at Highbury?
Did I know then? Well, I know they were 2-0 down. Yeah, 2-0 down. So game over. I think, got a feeling Brian McDermott might have scored. The old manager might have scored.
Yeah. So you look at it and suddenly you think, well, hang on. If the result stays as it is, it is on. We've just got to beat Southampton. Yeah. All to play for. And I've just put my notes. And then Town fall apart. It's a complete mystery. I want to talk to you about fatigue. I want to talk to you about Bottle. I want to talk to you about this guy whose name I will never, ever, ever forget. I think again I was at I was outside Martin's at Stoke Park precinct when I heard the name Bosko Jankovic twice. Villa lose 2-0 at Arsenal.
Yeah.
The title's theirs.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It just all caught up with this, didn't it? Unexplainable. I think only twice. I think I got this right. Only twice did we lose. Where we were all season and we lost. Position, I think one was at Old Trafford, and I think this was the second game. There was obviously games where we were ahead and drew, but actually got beat. I think fatigue. Everything just caught up with us. Fatigue. Everything else, I think, really did. The key, and I'm saying it now, I think the key to the whole season was Burley's injury. Burley's injury at Shrewsbury that put him out for the season. I think that was a key because McCall was a great squad player and so versatile. But I think all those games where, I know again, no disrespect to him, where Steggles had to come in, when Mills was injured, Burley barely, other than that season, barely missed a game, for Christ's sake. He was the real long-term crushing blow, really, because McCall was so versatile and he could come in and play left back. He could come in and do a job. No, he wasn't a Murin or a Tyson, but he could do a job, certainly a job in midfield as well. And that for me, that was the and obviously the amount of games, but that was the key. And again, I can remember. I think I was over Chantry Park. We were doing something that day with a transistor with my mates, and just unbelievable, really. Just all fell apart.
Bobby Robson said at half time it was made for us because I had a feeling Arsenal would hold on to beat Villa, but now we have no choice but to concentrate on the UEFA Cup final. Now, this isn't the final league table. Arsenal are on 53 points. They've played all their games. We're on 56 with one game to play, and Villa are on 60, played all their games. So Villa are crowned as champions, but we've still got one more league game. So I want to come back to the league a little bit later. So we then move... 4 days later to our 64th game of the season. George Kessler's AZ 67 Alkmaar.
Good team. The crack Dutch side. I think they just won the Dutch league by loads of points, haven't they, I think?
It probably says it in the programme somewhere. Let me just have a look at the programme. There's Butcher in Cologne in the Mungersdorfer Stadium. Looks like a smiling Bobby Ferguson just there.
It is,
let's pick the mascot up while we're here, and his name's Richard Lee of Millsale, Middle Lane, Horndon on the Hill in Essex.
I don't know what that is.
And there's another mascot whose favourite player is Paul Mariner.
Horndon, I don't even know what that is. Paul Mariner, okay. Yeah, brilliant.
I think they probably pronounce it without the H's in it, I'd say. Horndon on the Hill. I reckon that's what we know. The change that we've got is... Well, actually, I want to go back before we talk about the team. You mentioned about Burley. and we lost Mills for little periods of it. But was George Burley, Mills could go left back, left midfield. Was George Burley, in my mind, was just a right back?
Yeah, he was, but he was so good, such a good player. Both defensively, never saw him get taken to the cleaners by anyone. So good defensively, so good going forward, so consistent. Massive, a big loss. Admittedly Mills could slot in there, but then Mills missed a lot of games. Yeah, Burley never missed games. He just didn't, and Mills didn't. Christ, look how many games Mills played. But it was just that hole that just couldn't really be filled. And then, say Burley had been fit, Mills had been fit, Tyson's out, Mills goes into midfield. Mills plays in midfield. Yes, not a Tyson, but obviously could do an adequate job. It didn't quite have the squad. Didn't quite have it.
But we're lucky enough that we go to the UEFA Cup final, which is our only piece of silverware left. There's some pictures of them at the. You can see that at the fairground. I think
there you go.
There he is having some candy floss. There they are on
there you go, having a great
coaster.
time. Look, they just know they're going to get a result the next day, don't they?
They do. We're lucky enough. Yes, AZ 67 were top of the Eredivisie ahead of Utrecht, Feyenoord, and Ajax. Looked like they were going to win the league. I think there was 30 games in it. Yeah, they won it by about 11 points.
I mean, they were dominant.
We were very lucky in how we had been with the season about changes to the team that we actually ended up with our strongest 11 again. With McCall in the absence of Burley.
Honestly, I think again, Robson could see probably the writing on the wall, and that's you can see that was all really he had left to play for.
So obviously, a few more people thought the game was important, so we just got 27,500 at Portman Road for a UEFA Cup final.
I just don't know. Maybe some seats and that were taken out for UEFA dignitaries or something.
10,000 or whatever.
I don't know. What was the capacity? Well, we had. I don't know. Well, it'd be interesting to see what the biggest crowd of the season was. Probably 32. Probably was it? I don't know. 31, 32.
I could look.
We said Arsenal. There was 31 for the Arsenal game, wasn't there? Odd, isn't it? I don't know. I think that's probably why. Because there were dignitaries or something like that the crowd was cut down. I'm not sure.
John Walk scores his obligatory penalty in the first half, 28th minute. Yeah. I'm never going to be able to look through all of these attendances in that time. Second half, Tyson is a great goal from Tyson. I like this goal. In the 46th minute, he puts his header over the keeper after it comes back to him.
The nice thing about that goal, is quite funny about that goal, is it's on like midweek. So again, UEFA Cup final. Guys, back in the day, it's not shown live. So it's on midweek soccer special. And I remember coming home, and again, you can see the footage of this. Jerry Harrison is interviewing the local Anglian guys, is interviewing Bobby Robson as he walks down the touchline, as he comes out of the dressing room for the second half, just as Tyson scores, and he sort of commentates. So, and there's number 2, Bobby. Oh, thanks very much, Jerry.
Yeah, I just missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mariner wraps it up 3-0, a close range effort. Bobby Robson said it was our last chance to end the season on a high, and I kept telling the players that, and we did it in style. Now, what happens is that we have an unusual break, because on the Saturday is the FA Cup final.
I don't.
How would the town players have felt? Spurs versus Man City.
I don't know. I watched it. I can remember watching it. It was a very good game, and the replay was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I watched the cup final with that, but yeah, again, you couldn't help thinking that should be us. Us.
And then even more sad news. 2 days later, on the 11th of May, 1981, Bob Marley died.
Yeah, bloody hell, yeah. I mean, it's always a lot going on round about that time. I can remember it was a precursor that time of the summer riots, for God's sake, in '81. All over inner cities, sort of Brixton, Toxteth, and all around the inner cities. And also, it was the time of the hunger strikers in Northern Ireland. So Bobby Sands, and it was political, all going on with obviously politics and Thatcher and what was going on in Northern Ireland, what was going on in the inner city. So it was interesting times.
And they probably managed to obviously 65 games for Ipswich. They were probably talking a lot about town. They that a lot of these stories that you said never came on my local news. They were saying they were off to Portman Road, where Ipswich are going to entertain Southampton, Laurie McMenamin's Southampton, in an absolute nothing game for Ipswich, but in a huge game for Southampton. They've got to win and hope that Liverpool win the European Cup, which will mean that they'll qualify for the UEFA Cup that season.
Well, I mean, Town have been in that similar position in years before, hadn't they? Bloody hell. Okay, yeah.
So we've seen this programme already, which is the one at Southampton. I'll just take you straight to the mascot, and his name's Robert Day. Not another one from Ipswich. I think that you should you just be from Ipswich if you're a mascot?
I think you should.
Yeah, exactly. And that's still the rule. So anybody who's from somewhere up north, I don't care. You're born in Ipswich, you can be a mascot. If you're not, then support another team. Robert Day of Fenside Farm, Padney Road, Wicken, near Ely.
Oh, okay, right, and a Fens boy. And a Fens. Who's his favourite player, Stat? Paul Mariner.
I'm going to say Paul Mariner. he can't even get him in there. He's quite a light for Paul Mariner. Yeah. I'll have to tweet a photo of his photo. Now, Town, two changes. Parkin and DeVray come in. DeVray for Mariner and Parkin for Tyson. But this game, like I said at the beginning, set it up, is all for Southampton.
I remember going. We were like, they'd blown us away within 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 3-0 down after 21 minutes. Keegan and Moran scored 2. Then Brazil got 1.
Sorry, Keegan.
Sorry, Keelan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot that he left. So he went to Southampton from Liverpool and from Norwich.
Via Hamburg.
Yeah. So yeah, Kevin Keelan and Doug Moran scored 2. Brazil scored one at 26th minute. Who was it? Steve Moran, isn't it?
Steve Moran, yeah.
And in the 41st minute, Walkie gets one back. So we're going at half time 3-2. The Ipswich public have just turned their back on the club now. You know, at their lowest point, we've got less than 20,000 there.
I remember sort of going there. Yeah, just well, midweek game. Always went to midweek games. Yeah. Interesting names in that Southampton side. You got again 4 England captains there: Keegan, Shannon, Ball, Dave Watson. Similar, I think, there's the famous team, isn't it, which has about 5 or 6 England captains with Shilton, and when Mills goes, spoiler alert, a couple of seasons after. Yeah.
But they had Peter Wells was in goal for me neither. Bobby Robson said we were in disarray at the back for a while, and I've told the players if they make the same mistakes next week against AZ, the same could happen. So I hope they think about that. So we finished the league season.
Guys, say a great number 1 stat. You're going to like this. A great number 1.
Is it Bucks Fizz?
No.
So they've dropped that. I'll tell you who I think it could be.
Go on. They were the biggest band around at the time.
I'm going to guess because I think I might have that. Yeah, I'm going to say, was it Prince Charming by Adam and the Ants?
Close, Stan. Close it was. Stand and Deliver.
Oh, Stand and Deliver. Did that come first, did it?
Great stuff.
Brilliant. Let's look at the league table, and whilst I'm humming that in my mind.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Arsenal finished 3rd, 53 points. Obviously beat us at Portman Road. We finished 2nd on 56. And
Villa doing the running. Yeah, great running. Yeah.
60. Now, here's a question for you. We talk about this, right? And, you know, Villa won the league, and we always talk about, you know, how do they win the league? You know, we've beaten 3 times. We've beaten the FA Cup. We've beaten twice in the league. But this is the point I'm going to put to you now, right?
Go on.
They finished 4 points ahead of us.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But we took 4 points off them. Ignore the games between us and them. They took 8 points more off their opponents than us. They were a better team in the league.
It's a hard one. So, of course, look, the stats show they're a better team. I did some digging. Yes, I was just out of interest because we all know that they only played 45, 46 games across the whole season. So we played effectively 21, 22, whatever it was, 20, 21, 22 games more than them. And I thought, do you know what? I've never done this. So just sadly, I would look up their season appearance records, player by player.
Can I just say it's not sad doing that? That's what I do every night.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And it's just freakish, mate. So 7 players: Rimmer, Kenny Swain, Ken McNaught, Dennis Mortimer, Des Bremner, Gordon Cowans, Tony Morley, ever present. Didn't miss a game. Gary Shaw, 40 games, league games, missed 2. Alan Evans, 39, missed 3. Peter With, 36, missed 6 games. And the left back was shared between Gary Williams and Colin Gibson, who played 22 and 21 games. Apparently, only other players that played. David Geddes played 9 games, and a player I vaguely remember called Eamon Deasy played 9 games. Just unbelievable. I mean, and you compare it with us. I mean, you could see the slog. So obviously, Osman ever present, all 66 games, obviously 42 league games. Muren incredibly, because you think of Arnold Muren, all right, he wasn't a robust sort of midfield player, very slight in that. 41 games, only missed 1 game. Butcher
all the cup games.
Butcher 40, I think Walk 40, then you get Mariner 36, Brazil 35. This is a crucial one. Franz Tyson 31 league games, Mills 33. Just all caught up with us, mate. We just did not have the caliber of players in the squad to really fill in at the crucial times. Not saying the players that came in, like Steggles, I remember coming in doing a great job, doing a really good job. Obviously McCall was fantastic, but yeah, other fringe players we just didn't quite have it. Two players short, and I think that Burley injury was the big one. Really was.
A perfect storm for Villa. They're key competitors to win the league.
Getting
are involved in everything. Yeah,
all these games. And I think you made a really good point. Had we lost that third round game to Villa, I think we win the league. I honestly think we win the league. I know it's only. It's a replay against. More than that. Replay against Shrewsbury, replay against Forest, game and extra time against Man City. Villa knock us out of the cup. I think we win the league as well. I really do. And you can't say it might have happened again. We wouldn't have the game at Shrewsbury, very dry, bumpy pitch where Burley does his cruciate knee. I know it's all ifs and buts, but big factor there. But at the time, and you said it before, and you were quite right, and a really good observation that, Dave, it's a squad game. Couldn't he rest these players? He just didn't. Didn't happen in those days.
Villa. And let's not forget that we lost a team, and we lost against a team who was going to win the European Cup.
Oh, credit to Villa, for God's sake, they were a good side. I mean, exciting side. The winger Morley, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Oh, well, we had this funny conversation about that. I mean, brilliant up front. With great hold up, Shaw, good solid side, well managed by Ron Saunders. Strict sort of disciplinarian sort of manager, but really got them going. And I think I think that reflected on us that it took the next season European champions, but it's just a freakish season. I mean, look at it, 7 players ever present, just off the scale, off the charts, isn't it? And you look back at, you're right. And look at you made that point about some of the games and some of the points lost, and you look at Brighton away, you lose first game. First game we lose.
I think Villa lost at Brighton.
Did they? Okay. West Brom home, draw. Leeds home, draw. Man U away, you lead and you lose. And the big one's Norwich away, isn't it? That's the big one.
Yeah, the Norwich away is definitely, and you're right. Apart from, I think, Liverpool away, what I would consider to be the big games that season, Villa got more points against 5 or 6 teams than we did. And I think that was probably
it's interesting. Yeah, some of those teams. I look and say, how many teams did we double? And it weren't really that. It was obviously a few, but not that many.
But let's head over to Amsterdam for sure. We're off to the Olympic Stadium against. I want to do all this bit in Dutch, but I won't. George Kessler,
Steve McLaren speak.
Yeah. Now the important thing here is that we go into the UEFA Cup final. It's second leg. It's our 66th match of the season. That we don't mess things up. We score an early goal and we calm our nerves. And I think this is what we're going to look for. It's the same team as the first leg. Tyson's back in for Parkin and Mariner for De Vrij, like you say, who are being tactically rested now for these games. Those two are obviously carrying an injury throughout. I've got the program.
Oh, look at that pristine. Look at that, beautiful.
Yeah,
he just bought it yesterday. Look at him.
And it's got bits in Dutch and bits in English, which is quite good. But that does mean that you're paying full price for half a program that you can't read, and unless you can read Dutch.
Dutch.
Yeah. So let's go through the team. Cooper, Mills, Osman, Butcher, McCall, Gates, Tyson. How do you say Tyson in Dutch?
Tyson.
Yeah. Walk, Muren, Mariner, and Brazil. 28,500 there. Did they not know it was the UEFA Cup? Maybe they'd given up. I thought the
But
Olympic
again,
Stadium.
the game, that's a very good point, because the game, Christ knows how much their stadium held, because they moved it to the Olympic Stadium, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know what the capacity was.
No, with 7,000 town fans there, so 25% the ground, or the attendance was Ipswich fans. Did you go?
No.
No, I'd be interested to hear, but from people who did go, I'd like to know about the atmosphere, particularly after 4 minutes. Gates's corner, the ball comes out to Tyson, and he rockets it in. 1-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate. We've literally got two hands on that trophy now, haven't we?
Yeah.
7 minutes later, and I tell you what, you watch this game, and I remember him more from playing for, I think, Nottingham Forest.
Spurs.
Spurs? Did he not play for Johnny Metod?
Spurs, yeah, he just took the game over, didn't he? Absolutely took it over for a time.
Did he score that free kick against Forest then when he scored that, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about Forest, yeah. Brilliant play, yeah. Cooper came early. I'll tell you what, the other thing I've got to mention is Paul Cooper's kit. Fantastic goalkeeper's kit he's wearing for the final.
Green.
Yeah, but it's got like a very dark sort of top part of the jersey there. You have to look at that. Yeah,
have to get hold of that.
He came early. Metgod. Are we going to go with Metgod or Metod in this?
Methog.
All right.
Methog. No, Metgod. Yeah, Metgod. Of course he was.
Yeah, I'm glad, because that other bit took me back. It would take me back. Yeah. Cooper came early to Johnny Metgod, but he's out of position, and all he does is float it over, and Velsel heads it in 1-1.
Velsel, yeah.
Yeah. Then Velsel hits the woodwork. So 24 minutes, Metgod, Peters cross, Metgod headers it in. So I'm trying to keep up my notes. So it's with 2-1 down on the night, but we're still 4-2 on aggregate, and obviously AZ have got to score 5 on the night to beat us.
Yeah.
But then, fortunately, on the 31st minute, I think it's the goal that turns the tie. It doesn't stop the pressure. Muren's corner, Mariner flicks it on, and Walkie does that sort of side stretching volley.
Trademark, isn't it? Trademark of the season, wasn't it? Christ and Wedge, 36th goal. My God, yeah.
Also, he's 14th in Europe, which equals Jose Altafini's record from 1962-63. Here's a little fact for you. In 1962-63, he scored 14 goals in the European Cup playing for AC Milan.
Yes.
One of the teams that he played against was Ipswich Town, and he failed to score against us in either leg.
That's right. Incredible. He must have been prolific in the other games, for God's sake. Yeah, he did.
Must have been. And then, so we're thinking at half-time that we'll go in 2-2. Be quite happy with that. But in the 39th minute, Metgod continued to cause problems in the air, and the ball finally falls to Toll, who drills it past Cooper.
Yeah.
So we are now 3-2 down and 5-3 on aggregate. A great save, and I've got to say, Paul Cooper, look at the saves he's made. He's made 2 great saves, one from Velsel and a good header from Peters. And it's pressure all the time.
We're just under, though. We're really under the cosh here. I mean, they didn't show anything of that in the first leg, that's for sure.
I kind of like to think of this as a heavyweight title fight. This is the 12th round, and literally
we're out on our feet.
The seconds are shouting, just saying, just hang on, take it, yeah. 73rd minute, Jonker. What a brilliant free kick. What is Jonker's first name?
Stonker.
Is it? I won't even look. So Stonker Jonker.
I think he's Jos Jonker. I think I've got that right. Have I?
I'll have a look. It will be in the middle here.
Jos Jonker.
Jos Jonker. It's no, Stonker. It is Stonker Jonker. No, it is Jos Jonker. He scores with 17 minutes to go from 30 yards. A terrific drive. And it's 5-4 on aggregate.
I remember, again, Robson saying in his book that they're just playing like there's no one in their half. They're just going for it. Brazil's playing in their half pretty much on the halfway line, just waiting for a breakaway, but we just can't get the ball out of our half.
And if you do what I do is then quickly fast forward to the bit where I think John Watson says, and I think Brazil is offside. When the whistle goes and we take the the 4-2 defeat, but the 5-4 win on aggregate.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, bittersweet that you lose on the night, but at least we've got something to show for. What a season! I mean, they just won't be. There'll never, ever, ever be another season like that. I mean, just incredible. And it was a whole culmination of building up to the season. You could see the side evolving from the season before. The brilliant 23 or whatever it was match unbeaten run from the season before right to the end of the season. You could see that this was building up 1980-81 to be the season for us. And it's odd to say you come out of it, you disappointed. How good the season was. You come out of it disappointed. Christ, you win the UEFA Cup, but you're disappointed because it was on to win everything. It was on to win the lot, unprecedented, but it really was. And just in the end, we just didn't have the squad to do it, unfortunately.
Back in August 1980, how would you rank the trophies if you had said, what would you?
The championship was everything, and Robson says that. That's his one regret in football, isn't it? Yeah, you want the championship. Yeah, back then, sadly, the UEFA Cup would come easily third behind and everyone would say this, behind the championship and the FA Cup comfortably.
But that's probably a view of how important the FA Cup was back in the 80s compared to now.
Again, like I said, all right, you didn't have the depth of squads, and no one had the depth of squads, but no team rested any players for the FA Cup back in those days.
We certainly didn't.
Well, no one did. No one did. Liverpool, no one ever did. No, it was just, and it's just a shame, isn't it? I see they're playing. I heard today that the FA Cup quarterfinal's going to start in end of June, is it? And I think the final's scheduled for 1st of August. Did I read today? Oh, mate, I'm losing track with it all.
That is, I don't think the UEFA Cup, like you said, wasn't on TV.
Not live, no.
I was probably listening to it on.
It was
Radio
the first leg, like I said, was on Anglia in the evening, and the second leg, or at least the second leg, was on the BBC. Sports Night with Coleman. It was on Sports Night with Coleman. It's just brilliant.
Why on earth was Alan Brazil going up there wearing he's been at a spa and was wearing a dressing gown or robe?
He's either, that's a famous picture. And you spoke about it earlier. I can't remember much about. It was on the following Sunday, wasn't it? The
24th,
parade. I can remember the weather being a bit iffy and stuff. But what I do remember, and you touched on this earlier, you pictures of it and stuff, that there was a lot of construction going on around about the Cornhill in those days. And mate, some of the lads were in the stand in the most precarious of spots on scaffolding, like 40 or 50 feet up, and on top of the old post office and on the top of the Golden Lion and stuff. Great times. Brilliant.
But before I show you a picture, I think we should, if you haven't got this book, and whoever put this book together, fantastic. It certainly helped.
You must love that book, Stags. It's just different, isn't it? It's so.
Oh, it is. And I want to show you a picture out of it. But obviously the programs, I think Mel Henderson was responsible for writing a lot in the programs. And I came across this a while ago, which I really like, which is Champions in Europe.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Great photos in there. But I've got a photo from that 1980-81, which I'm kind of hoping they won't get too much light. But if you look, you can see people on the.
Look at it. They're in bloody on top of the chimney. So that's like where Lloyd's Bank is, isn't it? On the just near the arch. Oh yeah, there's the arch. Look. So back then, you still had. I'm pointing at the thing. They still had the old bus shelters there outside the town hall. So I'm sure people were standing on the bus. I was there somewhere. I think I'd shinned up a bloody lamp post or something like that. Oh, mate, look at that. Brilliant. Absolutely
great.
Brilliant.
I remember a little bit about it. The bus left Churchman's at 2, and I think was aimed to get at the town hall about quarter to 3, and I think it took a little bit longer than that. But I remember standing on Civic Drive and had a flag, and I've still got the flag, and waving that. And then bizarrely, my mum and dad having not bizarre, they had a cine camera, but a little camera that was.
Oh wow.
And there's a little bit of me and my mum. We just walked down to Portland Road, and as you did, walked in, and we're standing on the pitch, sort of waving the flag about. That would never happen again.
Great days, man. I always harp on about that season. I've enjoyed sort of going through and reminiscing, really. But yeah, bittersweet memories as a town fan, really. Great that we came out with something to show for the season, but yeah, it weren't a real prize that we wanted. Everyone wanted the league, especially Robson. That the league was the ultimate pinnacle. And the UEFA Cup's one thing, and sure, we beat the likes of Cologne and St Etienne, but it wasn't the European Cup, the big one, And who's to say that we win the league, we go on and emulate what Villa did the next season? But it does show you're right, and we're right to acknowledge that what a class side Villa were.
I think a lot would say to who won the UEFA Cup in 1980 and who won it in 82.
So who won what? Sorry, who won
the UEFA Cup in 1980 and who won it in 82?
I think it was German side win it in 1980. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Eintracht Frankfurt.
I think it was Eintracht
won it in 80.
Frankfurt.
And was it Gothenburg or something like that?
I think you might be right, Gothenburg. I think you might be right. Yeah.
But you have to either think of it really hard or look at it. Whereas in the European Cup, you could think about it. But again, we're just a small provincial market town in East Anglia that went to Paris and beat Saint Etienne. It was near enough Paris, wasn't it? 3-1. Where is Saint Etienne?
Yeah, it's a bit. I think it's a bit south of Paris. I think. Yeah, look, it was brilliant days. Those days in Europe. Like I said, just after I left school, really, all those seasons culminated into 88 once I left school. And I remember at the time, me and my school pals, and you just took it. We went to all the games and most of the games, stuff like that. Just took it for granted. Every season would be there, and we know subsequently what happens. Robson agrees to stay another season, has another crack at the league. Doesn't quite happen. Liverpool this time. And then, of course, the side starts to break up. Mills goes, and then obviously Robson goes, then Mills goes, and then obviously we know the story about the stand was built when, the Pioneer stand was built, and then all the players were on big contracts. And you can just see, sadly, how the side just slowly drifts away, but never take those memories away. What a season.
No, we are all rightly proud of how well we did, and it's just unfortunate that we had to play 66 games.
And deserved, but incredibly, you win the UEFA Cup, and how good the season was. We probably the least we deserved, but it just all caught up with us. And I don't think there wasn't the depth. You think you talk about squads and should we have squad players up, but you just didn't have squad players in those days. These clubs just didn't have the depth of squad. I think perhaps players were more resilient. Certainly it was probably a more physical game because Christ, you could go right through players in those days. But you just didn't have the depth of squads. I think I don't know. It's an odd one, a really odd one. And like I said, even internationals and stuff. No way would players ever miss going away for internationals for he's got a slight twinge. We've got an important game coming up the weekend. Just wouldn't happen. So. Would I say, football, you're sort of clouded by your memories. Football always seemed better in those days. Yeah, surely probably wasn't. It's fantastic football these days, but for me, it's a lot more sterile, and it's just not the same. Not the same. I'm an old fart stat. That's what it is, old fart. But they were the days for me. Fantastic.
Really
don't take me wrong. We just talking about 20 years of the playoffs, and what an experience that was, and the season that followed that, and then getting into Europe again, absolutely brilliant. But it was the whole thing. The whole thing with years before, getting Robson comes as manager, and he slowly moulds these three separate great teams together. Brilliant. Just unforgettable.
Can I ask you a question? So when we start this week in ITFC history again next season, are you not going to go for all 1980-81 games? Pick something different.
Let's pick something different. I think we've done it. It's done now. I've cleansed myself of it. I think. It's done. But it's good. I'm glad we should. I'm glad we spoke about that. We should give a lot of credit to Villa, who were just fantastic, really. Had a lot, and I think even their supporters would probably grudgingly admit that a lot of luck with injuries. Only you take a couple of key players, take certainly the winger Morley, probably the two centre midfielders Mortimer and Bremner. You get them to miss what on average would be 4, 5, 6 games a season. Totally different outcome. But
that's football for you.
Yeah, it is, mate. So enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity, mate. Thanks for that. Your program collection is second to none. Unbelievable.
It'll go back in the Polly Pockets.
See,
now.
you were like that. I've got several of those programs, but they're all dotted about my house somewhere. And they're all dog-eared. I mean, you just wouldn't like it. I'd show them to you, and I think you'd be physically sick if you saw them.
Palpitations, definitely, yeah.
Palpitations, but No, all good stuff, mate. And just to say again, we must come back to you. Your interviews you did with Magilton earlier on, absolutely fantastic. Anyone who hasn't watched them yet, you've missed out on a proper treat, because you were fantastic, but he was just unbelievable, wasn't he? Unbelievable.
He made it very easy. In fact, the most difficult thing was not saying anything. And actually, I miss him a little bit. I'm sure he'd
just get back on. He'd come back and just shoot the breeze with his stat. Just get him on now and again.
I want him to come back as manager, so then we can do a part 5 or whatever.
And anyone who hasn't watched mine, which but in comparison, not quite such an epic.
Tommy Miller.
But Tommy Miller was just brilliant, wasn't he? How good was he?
Great stories.
It's fantastic.
Have we missed anyone else? We haven't missed anybody else who's interviewed anybody.
Oh, we certainly should.
Mikey, Matt Holland.
And Matt Holland was fantastic. Mikey and Matt Holland was brilliant. I mean, obviously Ben has been a little bit last season he did a brilliant one with Marcus Stewart. Jono as well, again, brilliant value. Mikey's with Matt Holland. Well, Matt's his mate, isn't he? For God's sake.
Yeah.
So that was really good. That was really good too. So no, that's been enjoyable. And so yeah, look out for hopefully possibly. A couple more of those would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
If only we could get someone from 80-81. We'll see. On the subject of 80-81, I must give a plug to my good friend Pat Lewis, who's very much behind this. Is in conjunction with the London Sporting Club. It will be 40 years. Good God, that makes me feel old. 40-year anniversary of the UEFA Cup winning season next season, and I think. I haven't got the exact date, but I think it's sometime next May. Stat's probably got it to hand.
I think it's actually on the date.
It's actually on the date.
Yeah. So I think it's in conjunction with Stephen Skeet and Volunteering Matters, and you can get
possibly they're involved. Pat is a member of the London Sporting Club. I've been to several. Ian Stafford is the guy that puts it to that's putting it all together, and I think he's pretty much got everyone going from the 80-81 team. So that'll just be a fantastic night. I think it's at the Copdock Hotel. So yeah, I think I'll be going to that. So yeah, I know it's about a year away, but yeah, really looking forward to more reminiscing.
Even though it is about 1981, we don't call the Ipswich Hotel what it was called in 1981, which was the Copdock Moat House. It is now the Ipswich Hotel, and it will be on the 40th anniversary of the day where we lifted the trophy. Yeah, so it's quite interesting that it says featuring Alan Brazil, Paul Mariner, Eric Gates, Terry Butcher, Russell Osman, John Walk, Arnold Muren, Franz Tyson, George Burley, Mick Mills.
Know what you're going to say.
And others.
Yeah.
There's 10 names there, and it's got George Burley. No disrespect to George Burley, but who we missed out from that? Definitely Steve McCall.
Oh, you missed out Paul Cooper.
And Paul. Oh my God. Let's finish it on that.
But I think only because he couldn't get hold of him. But I think he managed to in the end. Yeah, I believe so.
He was too busy playing golf in Spain, I think. So
nice goal. Stat, absolutely brilliant, mate. We'll be back. Well, we should say we're part of the Blue Monday podcast. And look out for more going out in the future in this sort of weird and wonderful season. Who knows? We may even be talking about games that are played behind closed doors soon. Stat, that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it, mate?
Something for the stat machine to add in. So yeah,
superb, mate. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, cheers, take care.
The best. Take care.